Hi everyone, my name's Carl. I'm one of the data scientists at Redbubble, and this is Zoe, one of the iOS developers. And we're here today, we're going to have a bit of a talk about how Redbubble produces recommendations for users. So first up, a bit about what Redbubble is, because I think that might be a bit of a dark horse. So Redbubble was created in 2007 with the purpose of bringing more creativity into the world. We do that by enabling independent artists to be able to sell their work and earn a crust off it, basically. So helping people do what they love and earn a living from it. So ostensibly, we're a print-on-demand marketplace, two-sided. So one, we allow artists to host their portfolios on the site, and we allow customers to choose artworks from artist portfolios and then pick them to be printed on a certain product, whether it's a sticker, a t-shirt, cushion, leggings, and then we manage the fulfillment and the shipping of those products as well. So end to end, we manage the entire production and purchase process, and the artists and the customers are sort of on either end of that. We have over 1 million artists in our marketplace. We also have those artists producing over 24 million works in our portfolio. So there is a significant amount of content there. And those works are in turn available on over 70 products. So we've got, this incredible array of, 24 million works, 70 products. We also have 3 offices around the world. The head office here in Melbourne. We have an office in San Francisco and one in Berlin. We have over 200 employees, and of those we have 7 mobile developers and 9 data scientists, of which we are. In particular, which I think is very relevant to this meetup, we have an iOS app. So it was released in 2016, and it is localized in 4 languages, the main EU ones, so English, French, German, and Spanish. We have 70% of our users coming from the US, so we have a big US population there of our app users, and also 70% of our users are female. It's not a complete intersection of those two groups, it's just, there's a mix of those two. We have men in the US as well. And we've got a reasonably high review rating on the App Store as well, so it's nice to see good design being appreciated. And we have also just released an Android app. It's only a few weeks old, and we're gradually adding as we go, but the iOS app is the more mature of the 2 offerings. So first up, recommendation. So Netflix always has this slide whenever they do a presentation. It's, can you spot where recommendations are used? So I thought I'd simplify things and just draw red boxes around all of the spots we do it. We do it in a fair few places. So you'll see 3 experiences on this one. So going from left to right, we have our Explore homepage. This is all on the web version. So we have our Explore homepage on the left. In the middle, we have our product page. In this case, it is a t-shirt with Ice Bear on it, by the looks of things. And on the right-hand side, we have our search results page. And so all of these are sort of, we do large-scale recommendation of big results, and then we also do very micro recommendations in some cases. So I'll go into depth on the different scale we do later. Why do we do recommendation? I think that's one of the key questions here, and it's basically because we have a lot of content. So when you multiply 24 million artworks, 70 products, and up to 20 product configurations, you think it's tricky to recommend, 33.6 billion different combinations to users, and users have a hard time evaluating all of that stuff manually, so we'd like to help them and actually select the stuff that we think is most relevant for them, whether it's changing search results slightly to promote stuff I think will be interested specifically for them, or if it's things that we've looked at their behaviour and we think that there are certain works which are extremely relevant to their interests, we want to be able to serve that content to those users to help them complete their journeys. And so you end up with this case where we have all of these nouns. We have users, we have artworks, we have products, we have queries, we have tags on artworks. The idea is you can ostensibly recommend using any of one of those nouns, recommend it to any one of the other nouns. So, for example, you might want to recommend an artwork to a user, or in some cases you might want to recommend a user to a user if you consider an artist one of our users on the site. And so we have this also, a very large nexus of things we should possibly create recommendations for. And so we try to work out different spaces on the site to be able to place these in front of users to optimize their experience. And so you see a few examples of it here. So you might have an artwork and a product in combination. So in the case here, we have BMO saying, "Give me your bank account" on the mug. And in turn, we identify that, this person's likely to want Adventure Time mugs. So we might recommend other Adventure Time mugs in this case. Similarly, if someone searches for fish stationery and a work comes back for that, we try to work out what product is best suited to that work, or what product is most likely to get conversion for that work. And in some cases, we use recommendation to enhance other recommendations. So if we recommend an artist to a user, we might try and find the best work for that artist that we think the user will identify as sort of a splash for their portfolio. And we loosely label these as experiences. So we have primary recommendation experiences and secondary experiences. By primary, we're talking about recommendation being the sole reason for a user interacting with content. So they come to a location, they are aware they are engaging with a recommendation, and we evaluate the success or failure of that recommendation with just direct engagement with that. So if I go back a few slides, so we can see on the left our Explore feature, or Explore page, is one case where we just provide recommendations for users and rely on them engaging with that content and hopefully successfully engaging with that content. If they follow on for a purchasing journey after that, that's cherry on top, but that's not part of the consideration there. In combination with that, we also have secondary experiences. Now, these are recommendation experiences that we try to enhance another experience. That might be the case with search, which is primary and information retrieval experience. We might have recommendation to be able to pick the best product for every work appearing in search results. And so, we base that on a strategy of maybe certain works convert better on certain products or some just look rubbish on others. We don't want to necessarily get those combinations, so we use that recommendation strategy to be able to enhance a search experience. And we base our recommendations off this loose strategy of exploration versus exploitation. So this is the idea that we want to balance the idea of users encountering new content to sort of broaden their horizons and discover new things. We want to balance that with making sure that we're recommending the right things for users. So it's this, the exploitation in this case is a user's history with us to be able to identify things that we think are exceptionally relevant to them. And we enhance that with exploration by recommending them things that we think might only be possibly tangentially related. And the reason we do this is because if you funnel a user down either path of those exclusively, they will either end up with random noise in the case of exploration, or in the case of exploitation, you will recommend them things that don't break them outside of their mold, and there'll be a very same repetitive experience that doesn't really give them a great on-site experience. And so you need to be able to balance those two to give a successful overall experience. And so how do we do that? And so this is a very abridged version of the architecture that we use to provide these recommendations. So on the left we have the iOS app, and I'll go through sort of a brief, see if I can get the laser pointer going. It's not really visible, is it? Okay. So on the left we have our iOS app, which calls the mobile backend, which does a whole bunch of composition. So one of the calls that it makes to an external service is to our recommendation service, which is actually consumed by a whole bunch of other services at Redbubble. That recommendation service then, being provided with a given user, will request recent user interactions. It then uses those interactions to pass to a very long-term, well, not very long-term, long-term trained machine learning model. And it uses them as seed input. And with using those seeds for the user, it will retrieve a set of works that it thinks are relevant to those recent user events. It will then back up the chain. It will compile additional information about those potential works that the user might be interested in and pass it back to the mobile backend. Mobile backend then does additional hydration of that content to be able to represent it in a visual capacity. And then we pass that back to the iOS app, which renders it and delivers it to the user. We also have any interaction the user will have with that work, whether it's a favorite, it's a click, it's a purchase, an add to cart. We'll send that live to our user interactions service. We'll also send it long-term via Firebase to store for retraining the model. We actually retrain our machine learning models about once a week. And so that we find that is a reasonable to be able to include new works that are published by artists, as well as to incorporate new behaviors from users as well. And so via this way, we're able to balance sort of short-term versus long-term behavior, which gives a good bit of versatility. So one, this architecture allows new applications to use existing recommendations. We don't have to, provide a specific adapter for every new service that might want to use it. It also allows us to quickly just add new recommendation experiences inside our recommendation service. And also, if we want to change the entire architecture underlying this to a different recommendation model, i.e. maybe we want to move away from collaborative filtering user content-based strategy, we could just swap it out under the covers and then no consuming applications would be any the wiser. Users might have a few different opinions though. And it also allows us to run A/B tests without any of our consuming applications knowing about it, which is a fantastic feature. And so we can tweak things to be able to optimally recommend things to different users on different platforms. And it gives us the ability to also reel it back if it's not a good strategy to do it that way. From the applications that use our recommendation service, it's also sort of an inverse benefit. So any application that comes along that wishes to use it only needs to know the context of a user and a given recommendation experience. Then they can use that to enhance an existing experience that they have, whether it's search, whether it's a product purchasing experience, or whether it's checkout even. And it also means that multiple different applications or different parts of the site can use same recommendations for different purposes, which is a really nice sort of incorporation of that agnosticity of the recommendation architecture. And now I'm going to pass it over to Zoe to show you how the iOS app incorporates all this recommendation.
So before I go into how we deliver the recommendation experience into the iOS app, I want to give a live demo first to give you some ideas of how it looks. So this is the Explore feed in the app. And on the top, it's the recommended artist to me because I'm logged in here. So when you click on the artist, you can see some of the artwork and have a rough idea of if you like or not. You can follow or actually go to see the detail of this artwork. The second part is recommended artworks. So currently we are running an experiment of showing it in a vertical way or in a horizontal carousel. The next part is recently viewed. That's not a part of recommendation. That's just the view in history. And the part after it, the nature wall art you might like. That's the recommend topic plus product. So you can click on one of them and actually go to see the detail of the product. And the last part in Explore feed is the recommended topic. When you click on one of them, it will do a search for you. So this is the primary recommendation experience. So we also have secondary recommendation experience when you go to the search results page of a type. So this content is all personalized. So everyone click into the same product type will get different search results. Also, if you go into a product page, you will get more recommendations at the bottom, which is more like this. So this is recommended based on your the current artwork you are looking for. Yeah, that's a live demo. Let's go back to the presentation. How we actually deliver the recommendation experience into the app. So as you can see, Explore is used as the home page of and it's a starter of discovery journey. It provides multiple sets of experiences, and it's available for anonymous users and members. As the architecture diagram Karl has showed you, we have a backend service in between our mobile apps and the other backend services. It's our mobile BFF. For recommendations, what it does is it makes asynchronous calls to recommendation service, get back all the sets of recommendations, and then go out to other backend services to fetch the data we need to be able to display the recommendation in the UI, and then stitch the response together, deliver to front end. That's not the only thing it does. It also determines the order of the recommendations, the content of the recommendations. Also, it does feature toggling and lightweight experiment. It also does localization for the app. So in the app side, I'm not going to show you code because it's pretty common setup. But our goal to build this recommendation experience in the app is to make it as dumb as possible. So it's totally data-driven. So the UI is driven by the content coming back from BFF. We built some dynamic sections and real UI components to be able to render the UI based on the data it's being given. One of the use case is topic product. So what is a topic product recommendation? Topic, for example, in the screenshot nature, I think it's selected based on your history or your any searches on the site or in the app. Also, the product type is based on your interest as well. So we combine these two together and get a set of products we think you might like. So it's displayed in a horizontal carousel here. The title of the section is automatic generated in BFF, also localized in BFF. Also, how many sets of product recommendations we want to show in the app is fully configurable from the BFF as well. I think that's it from the technical side. We also want to introduce how does mobile and data science work together in Redbubble. So the day-to-day life for in iOS is, so we have a cross-functional team. We have back-end developers, front-end developers, designers, and product managers sitting in the same team. We do feature ideation, fortnightly planning and retro. We do feature delivery, bug smashing, and fortnightly release as well. That's pretty common for most of the places, I think. So for the iOS app, we use Swift plus GraphQL. For Android, it's Kotlin plus GraphQL. Mobile BFF is built in Elixir, and analytics is file-based to BigQuery. Next, I will hand it back to Karl to talk more about data science.
Thanks. So yeah, as you might have been able to guess from the architecture diagram, we're kind of full stack data scientists at Redbubble. So day to day we do a lot of prototyping, so validating whether a given enhancement to a feature or different part of the site has legs. We'll try out a machine learning model to be able to address that feature. And then we'll be able to, once we think we can move that into production, we will build the data pipelines to be able to serve the data necessary to deliver that experience. We will edit the applications to enhance, to add the new features, and we'll also occasionally do a little bit of front-end development as well. We also collaborate a lot with other teams in the company to be able to bring our experiences to other parts and other applications. So our collaboration with mobile is one excellent example of that. In the future, we're thinking of doing a lot of stuff together, specifically with mobile. So we're looking at personalized layouts for users to be able to, give them only the features that they're really interested in. We want to increase the amount of recommendations we deliver to users and start enhancing other parts of both the website and the mobile app. And we also want to start delivering more complex experimentation architecture. So delivering, experimenting with multiple variants at the same time, being able to, look at experiments in combination and isolation, some really nice stuff around that. So yeah, just in summing up, we deliver multiple recommendation experiences, both as a primary focus as well as to enhance other features of the site. And part of that is delivering recommendation to the mobile BFF, which is able to compose those recommendations into reusable front-end delivery. So it's a very nice, seamless flow through when it works. Finally, please get in touch. And we'd love to hear from you. So thank you very much.